Hi, this is Mr. Shelton. September 27th, 2020. Told you I'd do some hair samples to go with the portrait. So what I did, I got some varieties here on the computer. Only one kid requested, even though I opened it up, but hopefully I'm covering enough that'll help all you guys. Music in the background is Miles Davis' second great quintet. This is 1967 in Germany. Miles Davis on trumpet, Wayne Shorter on saxophone, who I just saw a couple years ago with Herbie Hancock, who's on keyboard here. Then I went to see Wayne again, but he was too ill, so Herbie did the show instead. And Ron Carter on bass, who I went and saw in LA a couple years ago. They're all still, Miles is dead, but I saw him in the 80s. Drums, Tony Williams, never saw him, would have loved to. But anyway, this is from Germany, 67. So hopefully that you're enjoying the music. Okay, I'm gonna start out with a student sent me this picture of her friend. This is what she's drawing. We won't use names, I guess. And I'm gonna, I'm gonna leave this open, but you know what I'm drawing. I'm gonna start. Why don't we review the face real quick, get that done, that structure. So holding the pencil loosely, start a circle. That's from the lip to the top of the head. I'm gonna figure out where her chin is. I'm going quickly because you guys have seen this enough times. Find the shape of that person's chin. I go much quicker than you should. Now let's start forming the face. She doesn't need too much cut away there. A little bit. I see her cheeks coming, her brow comes in strong, her straight cheek comes in strong, getting all that out of the way. And we know we cut the brow at the middle of this circle, and that's where the eyes are. And I can look and see how far from the edge we are here, how far we are from the edge there, and then divide that in thirds basically, and that gives me the eyes and the space between. I use those eyes to figure out where her nose goes to. I can't help but do a quick review, guys, on both sides, right? So you guys want to clear? Oh, I should have included the hair already. And so I'm gonna space the hair out because you guys need to see it. Just space out where her hair is. So I'm just gonna stop there with the features. Here's the mouth. Remember, a button for the nose, button for the nose. Find that inner shape and then build around it. Skin around the eyes, okay. I gotta stop or I'll get stuck in doing this forever. There's the neck. Okay, so here. You guys can't see this, I'll do it a little darker when I get the hair. Okay, so we're looking at this hair. There's parts that hang in the back, there's a wave on top, there's a little bit of a bun behind that, and there's a part that goes forward. I'll do before and after, okay. So first I'm gonna tackle the part on top. It rolls back. I'm not gonna draw a line across here, right? I'm not gonna do that. Let me go for a darker pencil. Remember, you should be going very light. I'm using a darker pencil so you'll see. Do not draw a line through here. Let the hair grow out of the head naturally. You see that? So she's got a clump of hair that goes back there. I'm finding the basic shape of the clump. Now, what did I do? I showed a little bit of an edge on top, but I didn't outline it. I didn't outline the bottom. I just showed the growth. You see, that's the beginning part. Now she has a part that kind of hangs down a little. So I'll show just enough to show sense of movement. And I'll show one or two strands kind of hanging down like that, right? And then here's her ear. Ear lines up with the brow. Let's get that ear in there. Okay, behind the ear, I've got some that fades out. Notice what I'm not doing. Okay, let me go down here and show what I'm not doing. I'm not ending them sharp like that, right? I'm not outlining the hair around the head, right? I'm not doing that, this being the head, right? I'm not doing complete things like this. Everything's loose and open, right? Just enough to show direction. We don't want to darken it in either. A few of you, if they have black hair, you've been darkening it in. Don't do that. This is a line drawing. We're not shading. Okay, she's got a few strands going this way, so I'll just signify that a little, okay? Now, up here it gets a little complicated. It sweeps in the other direction. So there's a few stray hairs, and I'll loosely show this clump going that way. And it gets dark here, but I know she has some growing that way. Then it's dark to see, but I know it kind of goes like this. Just kind of comes down there. And the hair doesn't really show. There's the cheek on this side. Now back here she has a little bit of a bun, so I'll just draw that bun loosely and just a little bit of line to show direction. So you can neaten it up, you can fine tune it. I don't want you to shade it, but you can work in the darks or lights, but that is how I would do this type of hair. Hair, can I get them both together? Yeah, you can see it basically. I broke it into parts, showed direction, let my hand fall, and I didn't do hard outlines anywhere, not down here, not up there. Okay, let's erase that real quick. And I'm gonna do a different group of hair. on this same girl's head. Sometimes it'll be boy's hair. Okay, let's go the next one. And it's this here. This is very similar here. But I thought it'd be interesting enough. It's almost like the long hair in the back you can separate and pretend we don't see that at first. And let's separate the top too. So let's forget about that bun on top and that thing falling on top, and let's forget about the hair at the sides, and let's just worry about that bunch of hair right on her head at first. So I look, and like a lot of you would do, which I warn you about, a lot of you figure, oh, that's flat to her head, so you make it like it's tattooed to her head. No, give it body. Even though her head would end flatter, it's not flat against her head. It has some body. So just show enough to show that direction like this. And you don't have to show the roof of it. You don't have to show the top. Maybe just a few strokes. Just do this. And then here, it comes in at her head a little there, comes in there. So you see, that's how I did this part here. That's all I did. Just did a little like that. You don't even need this line up here, really. You don't. Let's get rid of that. Okay, now we have this kind of rope thing there, so I'll loosely draw it. Remember, loose. That's the key. Just like shoelaces, whenever you get something more complex like hair, you become looser. Loose energy implies more. It implies movement. If you get tight, that looks like all there is. Now, this falling back from her head here, that's coming back in waves. I'll exaggerate a little. One wave goes this way. But now here, I will separate the head a little just so we don't get confused. One wave goes this way, one wave goes straight back, and this wave we see a little more of goes that way. So I'll just show enough to show direction of that. Don't overdo it. If it doesn't show up, that's okay, we'll get it later. Now this one falls all the way down to her shoulder. Hopefully I've already drawn the shoulder and I figured it out, you know, the ball of the shoulder and all this, where the shoulders. This here comes down and hangs on the shoulder. But I'm not overdoing it. I'll do a few stray ones on top, right? Everybody with me? See what I'm doing? A few stray ones here. Go to this side. Comes in, there's the ear. And I just have it kind of fall naturally. Again, let it fall loosely. Find more body. Okay, now look. So that's all I did for that one. I'm not shading in. Everybody see? Everybody see how I did that? Not hard at all. Okay, let's move ahead. You know, if you have a specific hair, you can fast forward through this, you know, run through it quick till you see the hair that you're looking for. Although I think these little bon mots that come out of my mouth throughout are very helpful for any type of drawing. If you don't know what bon mot means, you're a troglodyte and you're illiterate. Okay, now, I probably didn't know that at your age what a bon mot was. Okay. Okay, but you know we got some French people up here. Okay, I decided to go with the Samuel Jackson Pulp Fiction haircut. I thought, what's the craziest afro I've ever seen? What do you do when you get something like this? Just a lot of hair. Okay. First thing I'm going to do on this one, I want to pretty much ignore where it's falling down from the face. Let me get my 2B again. I'm going to do the 4B. I have to clean all this stuff off the table. I was erasing. First, I'm going to do the edges, but I'm going to do it very loosely. Just kind of hint. You see, if you zoom in, if I make it large, I'm just doing shapes like this. But don't be so sloppy that they look mechanical. You have to have a little form to them, and you got to kind of copy the size and ratio of the ones he has. So I'm doing some of those on the outside to show volume. It's a lot of volume. His ears right there. But I also want to do them on the inside. Just as many, you know, have just as many blank spots outside. Maybe, I'll take that back. More blank spots inside, but you don't want it fully covered on the outside, and you don't want it so empty on the inside. And then in the front, instead of doing a line, do those little curls, those Jerry curls. I guess they're not Jerry curls, they're not wax, but those curls that come down. Just do a few of those. And, you know, it's loose and it's stringy if you look at Samuel Jackson, so make yours loose and stringy. If you had somebody with a neater, tighter afro or curly hair, or, you know, Jufro as they call it, or whatever it is. Like my dad would be a Jufro, I guess, what they call. His isn't that curly. You go with the body you have. If it's tighter, you're tighter. If you're looser, you're looser. Okay, and as far as that facial hair, we're going to do that here. Let's see what we have so far. So this is what I came up with. I did these little like kind of nuggets of of texture here and there, a little bit there. Let it string off a little. He's got these little curls on the side here, just loose, you know, loose, loose, loose. And the same if you do the facial hair, loosely. Don't feel committed don't feel you have to commit to any tight pattern. Just get the basic, whatever your hand wants to do to accurately mimic that movement. And mine were these little curls, and that seemed to work pretty well. Yeah, I can't say it's whatever you pick. It's got to be something that makes sense, right? And his mouth would be here, his nose would be here, his brow would be here. We get the idea, okay? Everybody see that? And where it's darker, you'll concentrate more of them to show more value, more complexity. Where it's lighter, you want it to kind of disappear, right? So, again, I'm doing these so fast. You guys should take way, way more time than I am. I'm just trying to run through the samples here, okay? Let me go through a few more. All right, I know there's some of you into K-pop, so I looked up K-pop stars. Okay, these guys are both looking down, so I'm going to change it a little. Here's the head. The chin's kind of here. The face is looking down this way. Here, I'll show you. These two guys. I don't know if you know who these fellows are. I'll do one hair at a time. Okay, do this guy first. Okay, he's looking down, so I got to fix his head so it's down a little bit. His brow's here, nose here, mouth here. There's the jaw. There's the neck. Okay, here's an ear. Okay. I think you guys get the point. I'm not really doing a real drawing here. You guys wouldn't do it like that. I just want to get the new model of the head in for him, right? Okay, now, so looking at that hair, how do we do this hair? Actually, his head's turned a little more this way. Okay, first part is it kind of goes back in a V. That's easy, you know. So we go back. We show roots. We don't ever have to outline here. Lose that habit. But it's so hard to get you guys to do. It's like getting you guys not to do lips. Okay, that falls back. Again, it's not tattooed to his head. It goes back beyond his head. It's got some body. And if you look, there's these like little mountains there. I guess I can keep this right here. Okay, and this starts going this direction, right? Like that. And then we've got this sweeps. Look at, I'm letting my hand fall. I'm not holding the pencil tight. Just sweep down. Don't overdo it. Just a few. You get to this one, they start curving that way. Again, I'm not tightening it at the end. And there's a few strands there stray. Ooh, swing this way. Now it's still up to you to go in and find darks and lights without shading it. Like where do you want your dark lines? Where do you want your soft lines? So there you go. Pretty quick. Remember, be cool with the loose hairs. Let your hair fall, okay? Now let's see his buddy here. Give me a second to erase. You know, you can't stop and start this camera, so I could do all these different clips, but the amount of time would take editing it all together rather than just stopping erasing. It's just not time effective for me, even though it's a little pain in the butt for you. Okay, this kind of hair, how do we do this? Okay, gotta change, I'll put him right here. So now it's more like a cap, but again, I don't want to draw a line like some of you will. I just loosely have the edge of the hair. Make sure you're giving it enough body. Go way up higher than you would if it was a bald head. It's like this. His hair comes down. It kind of swings to one side. It's a little thicker there. Now his head's not turned as much, so I have to kind of extrapolate and figure this out. Get the ear there. And just a few lines to show direction. Show that part there. And again, very simple. Oh, I got to the braids. I don't want to do that. Okay. Does everybody see kind of what I did there? Just kind of made it fall down. Didn't need to outline it too much. All right, I'm going to go to another page. This one's getting kind of beat up here. So hand on a second. That a great concert. I wish you were there. 1967, Germany. Seeing Miles with his band. The band I saw him with in the 80s was a big letdown. It's not one of my favorite eras or even close of Miles. Okay, let's go to this braided girl. I'm actually a little nervous about how I'm going to do this. But, you know, what do? You jump in and you figure it out. That's what I do anyway. Okay, can I do this so you guys can see? Okay, I'm going to have to do the head again briefly. I'll make this one small. Okay, head circle, right? That's right there to the lip. Your chin's there. Chin not so big. Let's go in that direction. Brow here. Cut the head there. There's her nose. There's the mouth. right? We won't worry about all that now because we're just worried about hair. Okay, so now the hair. I'm gonna start by doing like a quick form on this one. See, I'm cutting that way. You know, but make it very light because you don't want to keep any outline in the hair. I know I said don't outline, but this one I'm going to need some parameters. But they're not permanent. These are temporary outlines. Okay, now I'm going to go a little darker. I might even use the ebony so you can see this. And what we did with shoelaces, you know, the ebony's too thick. I can't do it. I'll do it with a 4B. I'm not going to show every braid knot, but I'm just going to loosely. And this is why your underneath thing I did, that sketch out, that parameter, you have to go very loose because you don't want that to show up. That's just a guideline for this. You just want to show some random parts of the blade here and there, braid here and there. Some curl there, a little bit, just enough so when you step back, is your eye satisfied that you showed a braid? Maybe not yet, so maybe I gotta do a little more divot inside, but the secret is you have to be loose. And as they go farther away, you can do some that aren't as detailed, right? And I'm not gonna sit here and do the whole thing. And so when you get to larger areas, you know, you can kind of be more symbolic, like back here, just like this, because I've already shown what they are. But you can't jump too suddenly to that. It's gotta kind of gradually become the less detailed one. So most detailed, no more than this, least detailed like that, and then you gotta kind of get in between and gradually go back. So you get the idea. It's really difficult and it's gonna be a little time consuming, but I would go in afterwards and I would hit it with the eraser no matter how detailed you were, just to loosen it up a little bit. Later you go in and find your darks and lights. So not easy, but I think you get the idea. Start out with your shapes kind of figured out so you have some kind of pattern to go over, some kind of template, right? And get away with as less as you can. Okay, hopefully nobody's doing that kind of braid. All right, hope that was a little helpful anyway. No, I'm not gonna stay here and do the whole thing. Do I have any more on here? Oh, okay, you get a bald guy or a guy with a shaved head. Or a woman with a shaved head, they definitely could get that. Right, let me see right here. This is Curly from the Three Stooges. Okay, let me just show you a few things. Ah, shoot! Ah! I just spilled plant water all over. Hang on, everybody. Yes. Okay. Hang on there, children. I'll be right with you. I'm just going to put down some towels for you. And then I'll be right back. I don't want to stop this film now. I want to edit it later. So we're just going to carry on in a minute. There you go. All wiped up. I got some cleaning up to do. Okay, so circle. Okay, you want to do a bald head. You got curly there, someone like that. Here's the secret. You get everything figured out. You get the eyes, nose, mouth, just like before. And then you get the basic shape loosely. Now, remember, don't make it too bald. A lot of you cut the heads in so sharp. There's a lot of head on most people. Now, if he's completely bald, or she, I would just leave it like that. Just a loose kind of dome there, right? Now, if they have a shaved head, what I would do is you erase that as much as you can or keep it as loose as you can, and you just, it depends. If it's real spiky, if it's spiky, you know, like that, spiky, right? And you go with whatever pattern they have, right? Just a little spikes like that, see? Is that showing up? I hope so. Spiky like that. If it's just barely like a razor stubble, I would just do this. I would just have like almost a loosely dotted line, if even that, on top, and a few dots here and there. I wouldn't do any more than that. Okay, do I have any more of these? Michael Jordan, you don't need to see that, same thing. Let's look at something like this, okay? How do you do that? Again, it's a little easier in the braids because it's not as deep, it's not as tight, so you can afford to be looser and less accurate. So I would just kind of go sweeping in all directions, concentrate in some areas, and just keep a sense of where it don't do any full curls, just imply curls. imply curls. Maybe 1 or 2 hanging here, but just imply curls. God, it's funny having Curly's face with that from the Three Stooges with this girl's hair. But do you see how I would approach that? Just like that, and go loose. Remember, don't end tightly. Just do the hint of curls. Don't get stuck doing windy curls, right? Just get loose, loose, loose. Go, take more time than I am, but I think I'm giving you the idea. It looks like that's all. I skipped this guy, but that's basically just dividing it into directions, right? That's not even that difficult at this point. Now you all got that, right? Well, I hope that helps. I've got to clean up my place. There we go, samples on portrait drawing.